So, we're back once again after a bit of a hiatus.
Let's go on another. That was nice.
A nice little break, but without an actual break.
It's been 3 weeks since our last episode, after we resolved to try to record weekly. And we sort of fell apart after a month.
It was a good run. Don't try and discount it.
We did our best, but we've resolved to move our recording day and to do this every other week as opposed to every week. And that'll probably make all of our lives a lot happier. So now that I've given you both plenty of extra time, do you have anything interesting to tell me?
So my friend is in Students for Bernie and has roped me along.
He can still win, guys. He can still win.
Here's how Bernie can still win, my boys.
15 reasons.
But anyway, since I've been roped along to these meetings, I've and I am a trusted person to at least one of the three founding members. I've found myself to be the lead critiquer of their meetings. And I do have to say, how the campaign wants it to be run is just, the fucking worst. They made us watch these videos that were lame and, sign up all your friends to the Burn app or, put in their information or whatever the fuck. It's on some bullshit. I'm not trying to do any of that. I'm just trying to, talk about democratic socialism or whatever.
All right, let's go back to the beginning for this. So, what do you mean you're the critiquer?
So, after the meetings, they come to me and they said, okay, how did it go? And then I told them what went wrong.
Everything.
All right, so describe how an average meeting would go.
There will be... The last one was actually the best one yet. So, but both times before, the first time, let's just go with the first time because there's only been 3 meetings. The first time they made us watch a couple videos on here's what we want this, the national campaign telling the Students for Bernie for each of their universities that are participating, okay, here's what we want you guys to do. Here's how Bernie can still win. It was pretty much the theme of these videos that they made us watch. So that was exceptionally lame, which I told them, and they're like, yeah, but we had to. And I was like, I know, I understand, but just airing my grievances that this video is extremely lame, and I hated every moment of it, and I wanted to go home.
How long are these videos? Are they 20 minutes of just pro Bernie stuff, or are they...
Yeah, well, it wasn't pro Bernie. It's more here's what you got to do in this club. Here's how Bernie can still win.
But what do you have to do? What's in these videos?
Pretty much just get people on his side.
And how do you do that? Just
tabling, talking to people, that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
Telling your Bernie stories, their angle that they're really trying to get with us. So they want us to talk to people here's the reasons why I personally would like Bernie to be president, which is a pretty good angle to come from.
Yeah.
I actually originally earned this position by in the first meeting they asked everyone okay, what did you think? And I said, you guys should speak from your chests when you're speaking publicly. And that's how I earned the position immediately.
You guys public speak badly.
Yeah.
Way to destroy their argument.
I took a class on this. You guys need to get your shit together.
Libtards wrecking libtards.
Personally, I like to imagine myself as Ego from Ratatouille, or some sort of stereotypical French critic. I have the striped shirt, the pencil stash, the little black sunglasses, round sunglasses, and the beret and the cigarette, and an espresso and a notepad. and like a fountain pen, just like, oh, you didn't use the correct form of rhetoric.
All right, so you go to the meeting, they show a video. What happens after that?
Oh, that was only the first one. The other ones are pretty much like elaborating off of those. So, like, was it yesterday? No, it was the day before's meeting. It pretty much pushed the why I'm voting for Bernie standpoint, and that was okay. I thought it was kind of lame. Then I kind of came to a realization after the meeting, and I was talking to them about it, that like the lameness inherent to like the purpose of the club, and there's not much they can really do about that, especially since they have like a national campaign telling them what they ought to do.
So yeah, the club is lame because politics is lame.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But they really appreciate my like assholeness, which is the first time that's happened. So I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Feel validated.
Yeah.
That's great. So Simon, why are you voting for Bernie Sanders?
I want to see the presidential Undertale genocide run.
I want the first gamer president, is what you're trying to say.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
I will happily concede that to Bernie Sanders. I feel like he has the most gamer energy.
Well, he's the only one with a Twitch account, so
Then
Yeah.
you run, Simon.
I want Bernie to live stream from the Oval Office.
That'd be fucking awesome. You know, that's really the only interesting thing that's been happening to me.
All right.
I also went to a protest that they were staging, which is pretty okay.
Protest about what, though?
They didn't like that Lockheed Martin was trying to recruit students and showing up to campus.
They're always at my campus because engineering school.
Yeah, same here, because we are big money, big education boys.
I don't know. What's the problem with them showing up?
Really that they sell drones to whoever and they commit war crimes with those. Drones. You know, the ones that they use to bomb hospitals and shit. You know, Obama bombed a hospital in 2015 and no one talks about it?
So Simon, supporting old Bernie Sanders going to protests. When's the revolution going to start, Simon?
Yeah. I'll think about it.
Sam, are there political clubs at CSUB? Because I know for a fact there are none at my school.
Really? There are none?
Not like in any official capacity.
I'm sorry to hear that. We even have a Young Republicans Club, which still surprises me. I mean, it shouldn't, but it kind of does.
I don't know. Your school is very wealthy, so it doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
There is a Republican club. That's about
That
it.
doesn't surprise me at all.
That shouldn't surprise anyone who knows anything about Bakersfield.
See, the only political thing I'll see like some like Republican group. They'll like set up like a table at the library. You guys know the Steven Crowder meme. Something something changed my mind. You guys have seen that, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. So like people will just like set up a table with like a handwritten sign saying something along the lines of like Trump is not racist, change my mind, and then just like sit there for hours.
And no one fucking talks to them because they're weird.
No, people talk to them. I don't know why.
Well, I'm sorry for those people.
The people with strong opinions.
Yeah. I've never interacted with them, and I never will.
Good of heart, dumb of ass.
Yeah. The kind of people that would set up the table are the kind of people I don't want to talk to about politics.
They're there to see people get riled up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you ever just let them win? Just like hand it to them on a silver fucking platter? Oh, I went to a debate which I didn't talk about, I think. Did I talk to you guys about the debate where they had like one person like representing the point of view of Bernie Sanders and the other person representing the point of view of Elizabeth Warren because they are quite similar?
I had no idea about that.
Okay, because this is gonna get like kind of wacky. Like I can't believe I forgot about this because it's like one of those like, oh, this is like accidentally a little weird for like no apparent reason. So like my friend and I go, the one who wrote me to Students for Bernie in the protest, he took me, and I was interested because I like to see liberals getting owned. So it's Bakersfield's, national pastime is just to own liberals.
Of course.
So I went. So, uh, so for those of you who don't know, Bernie Sanders identifies as a democratic socialist. And the person representing Elizabeth Warren identified himself as a democratic socialist. But he thought Bernie was not a good choice for like very like I can't remember his reasoning, but I remember it was just stupid. Like his idea of like socialism is the government does things and that is socialism.
The government doing things is socialism? Is that what his argument was?
Yeah, that was like his idea of what socialism is. Is like the the postal system, that's a government thing. The government is doing something. The postal system is socialist.
I mean, definitionally, he's right. But that's not a helpful way of thinking about it.
Yeah. Like socialism is not the government doing things. Socialism is an economic principle, basically. So he was pretty much a capitalist, but pretending to be a socialist. So, a liberal. And the person who's representing Bernie Sanders was like a syndicalist. So, like, she deadass came out and said, I don't think big corporations should be, like, making things. It should be owned by the workers. Which is, a very hot take.
Yeah,
which both me and my friend were loving.
But I mean, that idea destroyed several nations and the economy once.
Don't worry, guys. We can do it correctly this time.
We can just keep trying until we get it right.
I bet one day.
America and Latin America policy. We just keep blowing it up until we get it right. So anyway. That like both me and my friend like that, and like the chick, because there's a chick representing Bernie, like she handedly like thrashed this liberal, so we were having a good time just like watching this dude get thrashed. So it came like question time for like the last half hour of like this debate,
Of course.
and like this dude in like a flannel and like the like hipster beard, like a bit long beard, but not too long. Like he kind of comes up and says, "Hey guys, it's question time. Like, come line up by this piano," because this was in like a weird like church sort of thing. I couldn't tell what denomination. There was no cross, and I was kind of confused about what the purpose of this building was. But it was clearly spiritual. But anyway, like line up by this piano, and then like we'll bring them. Like the mic is by the piano, so we'll bring that to you. And then, like, a few people line up, and it's, like, a few guys and a chick. And he says, like, I wish I remember what he said word for word. Because, like, the woman was in the back, because she got there last. And he pretty much, like, implied that he didn't want any white men talking. I was like, oh my god, I didn't realize liberals were actually this real. I'm scared. I want to go home.
Hold up, is this not like recorded on YouTube or whatever?
No, there was no recording whatsoever.
It's so sad.
I know, because it was really fun. I had a great time. Like he said something along the lines of like, white men talk enough. Let's have like a woman talk or whatever. And it was just like, yikes. Imagine being a cop. Because this dude was a white man. you know, which I get that there are people like that, but it always feels weird when you see it. Like, why would you throw yourself under the bus kind of thing?
Some opinions I only see on the internet, and it feels weird to see them in reality.
Yeah, if like when you're like sitting there and you're hearing this dude being like, "Yes, I am like as hardcore liberal as it gets." Like, oh my God.
Some people's opinions shouldn't be said out loud.
Yeah, if you're like one of those people who's like, yeah, fuck white men or whatever, like, please don't go out and be like, yeah, I'm just gonna not take questions from white men real quick, because that's not the answer to that problem. Like, the white men who are in line did get to ask questions. It's just like he moved the woman up first, and like, that was such a weird move that like I would never see coming.
Just gets blindsided.
Yeah, just blindsided by another liberal.
Did you ask any questions there?
I tried to, but we ran out of time.
Ah.
So the Warren guy, the liberal, he was saying that like Warren is gonna like push all the levers and like pretty much pack the courts and shit and like something highly illegal.
No, like what FDR tried to do and what ended his whole career.
Yeah, pretty much. You can't fucking stack the courts. They'll never let you get away with that shit. So, like, he's like, yeah, she's gonna end the Republican filibuster in the Senate. So my question is, if you want to end the filibuster in the Senate, why not just get rid of the Senate entirely so that you can better represent the people with the House of Representatives? But then you get asked a question.
Not allowed to speak.
No, they ran out of time. It ended at like 8:30 or whatever.
So I hear my brother in the room over practicing with his new guitar.
Is he bad?
No.
He just started, so
So yes, but like he's supposed to be.
yeah, it's like the normal thing.
Yes, but it's understandable.
So I'm going to be right back to let him know that
Is it picking up on Audacity, which is the more important question?
see, he's not playing it right now, so I can't tell.
He's gonna start rocking out in a moment.
Pulls out the drum set. Wait a minute.
This wasn't supposed to happen.
Okay, it doesn't look like Audacity's picking it up, so I guess we'll be fine. If he starts playing louder, though.
Yeah, just knock on the wall or something.
Throw a rock through the wall. Yes. Do I actually have a rock near me? No, I don't. There is a rock in my room. I don't know why. It was like there when it was like left there when my sister had the room. I hadn't had a reason to take it out.
Fair enough.
You have the nerve to tell me your room is organized.
Yes.
He didn't say his room was organized. It was organized chaos.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Wait, there's just a rock in my room. I don't know why it's there, but it's been there forever.
It's a part of the room now, Grant.
It really holds the room together.
Not to mention it's like in a corner right next to the door. It's not even like in the way. So you just sigh.
It doesn't make things
His
better.
name is Stan.
I just get more and more disappointed the more I hear about how you guys decide to live your lives.
I think Stan's a good name for a rock.
Simon goes off on a separate tangent on naming rocks.
Simon, when naming pets, do you prefer like human names or like esoteric names?
That's a great question.
Like if you had a
little
cat,
bit of both.
would you name it like Charlie or would you name it like Concrete?
Concrete. I don't know. I feel like it would depend on the personality of the cat.
What kind of personality would earn itself an esoteric name?
One that reminded me of an esoteric thing. like personally, I don't have reservations against using human names for cats, but also like I feel like there are some names that are like awful, like tangible, not inanimate objects like mittens, snowball, socks, those sort of things.
I disagree. I like Snowball. I think that's a good name, but only if the cat is all white.
Yeah, like in Stuart Little.
I haven't seen that movie in like 12 years. That's not a reference for me.
You don't remember the cat's name in fucking Stuart Little? For shame.
I didn't even watch Stuart Little.
Have you ever, at vets, have you guys ever had the weird thing where, like, the veterinarian will call your pet by its first name and your last name? So, like, they're going to call your cat and then say Nelly Zelinka?
I've never taken my cat to the vet. I've only had to take my dog a couple of times, and they've never called him by my last name. They always just call him by his first name.
Oh. You should stay pure.
I know, you have to register dogs in the state of California. Do you have to register them with a last name?
No. I think it's just a weird thing that vet did, or maybe I'm remembering it wrong.
Maybe.
But it is a cursed idea.
Possibly. Be funny if they referred to, like, your dog as, like, Mr. Leach.
Yeah, it'd be weird.
Have you done anything in the past 3 weeks of note, Sam?
Well, yes, Sam has been staging a communist revolt in Bolivia.
I went to 2 Halloween parties.
Oh.
One with the people in the Honors Lounge at Matt's house, and then another one for people in choir.
All right.
And a lot of the time at the party at Matt's house was spent playing drinking games, but there was no actual alcohol. So they just mixed sodas.
Is Matt 21 already? I forget how much older he is than me.
Don't remember.
Fair enough. So, like, what kind of drinking games did you guys play with your non-alcoholic beverage of choice?
It was Rage Cage, and then just beer pong.
This is the second time Rage Cage has been mentioned on this podcast, and I still have no idea what it is.
This time I actually know what it is. Okay, so in the center of the table, there would be a bunch of solo cups with drinks in them.
Okay.
And there are 2 empty cups on the outside, each held by each in the possession of one person at that time. The goal is to bounce a ping pong ball into the cup, and then once you do, you pass it on to the next person. The goal is to try to get your cup or get the cup to wrap around to the other cup. And if you're the person if you have a cup and then the next person also has a cup and you get your ping pong ball into your cup first and then you put your cup on top of their cup, then they have to take a drink from one of the drinks in the middle.
Okay, so you have a cup, in front of you?
Yeah, and once you get the ping pong ball into your cup, you pass it on.
Okay. So you're, hitting the ping pong ball back and forth, and you're trying to, angle it down into your cup?
You're just bouncing off the table into the cup.
Okay.
And if you do it too hard and if somehow your ping pong ball ends up into one of the cups in the middle, then you immediately take a drink from that cup.
Okay. So that's just normal beer pong rules for that case.
Yeah. And it's the cups on the outside would have the norm, a normal small amount of some alcohol, while the cups in the middle would have a combination of alcoholic drinks.
Okay.
So vodka and whiskey or something like that. whatever you have. In our case, it was like a combination of like Sprite, Dr. Pepper, cola, and lemonade.
Those don't sound like the best of combinations.
Yeah. It's supposed to be you don't want to get that.
See, I've been to parties where people have played beer pong, but I've never actually played it myself because it just sort of disgusts me as an idea. Because, like, the ping pong ball, like, as it's landing in cups of beer,
That shit's covered in botulism, man.
it's covered in beer, so it's getting grosser and stickier the more you play with it. And the more you drink, the drunker you get, and the more likely you are to miss. And the ping pong ball lands on the floor, which at these houses is never clean. So it's this sticky ball landing on this filthy carpet generally, or like filthy wooden floor. They're picking it up and they're just bouncing it into like more cups of alcohol and drinking it. It's disgusting to me. So I've never played beer pong.
As Matt said from experience, that it gets even better the more drunk you get.
I'm sure it does, but then like you don't notice how disgusting it is. But you just have this like sticky, filthy ball dropping into cups of which you're now drinking out of. It's gross. No.
Delicious.
It would suck too if you had like a dark beer or something like real heavy and like Guinness or something, just like
Just like that.
That noise.
like I had some like dark Christmassy ale today, and that was like hard to do just a bottle of it. I couldn't imagine doing beer pong on it. Those things really aren't acquired taste though, so that's why I think a lighter beer would be a better idea for beer pong. Of course, getting botulism in your beer doesn't sound very fun to me.
Yeah, it's just gross. Yeah, also when I drink, my goal is not to get drunk. That's not what I like to do anyway, so it doesn't serve me any purpose whatsoever.
Yeah, we're just here to drink to have fun.
Yeah, we're here to have fun with friends.
Yes.
That's the whole point.
Have a couple beers, feel a little sad, but have a good time anyway.
Couple of beers, bit of Yu-Gi-Oh. It's all my goal really is.
Drunk Yu-Gi-Oh. Optimal Yu-Gi-Oh play is when you're drunk.
I've met people who like will go to like regionals like drunk and high, and they'll swear they're having like the most fun, but they're always like X3 drop at like noon. So
I feel like that's the most amount of time you want to spend there anyway, so you can go get like lunch and just go home.
yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh does not give a lunch break, which is really annoying.
You have to believe in the heart of cards for sustenance.
It's really annoying. The big Pokemon regional of the year is happening like the day before finals week, so I'm big sad that I won't get to go. Or if I do go, I'm like risking my grades on going to a Pokemon tournament.
Worth it.
So, I had to register for classes last week, and that was as fun as it always is.
Why wasn't it fun this time, Grant?
So, I don't have max priority registration. What I have, they've tiered out the priorities. So there's people with like max priority who've like sworn they're gonna graduate in like under 4 years or something crazy. And those people got to register, I believe it was like almost a week in advance.
Wow.
The time gaps are large, so
Oh, okay.
my ad drop period is from October 23rd to December 4th. Like, we have large time scales. So, like, I've been in my ad drop period for almost 2 weeks, and they're still opening new classes. It's not... I don't have what Simon has, which is, like, 2 days to register. I get a big chunk of time to sort things out, which I think is great. So I'd set up my shopping cart with all of the classes I wanted to take, which is basically all of my next level classes. And then I'm trying to take advanced linear algebra to finish my math minor, and that turned out to be a slight issue. So the day of my registration, it's a Wednesday. My registration is at 8 a.m. And I like to sleep, so I was almost certain I was going to sleep through it. So my big brain plan was to just not go to sleep that night.
Really earning that math minor right there, aren't you, Grant?
What
So-
if I just don't sleep?
What if I just, instead of being a normal person and going to sleep and setting up an alarm, I just don't sleep?
So I'll talk about alarms in a little bit because I was trying a new thing with alarms that completely failed, and it messed me up for an entire week. I'll come back to this. So I'm thinking I'm a genius. I'm just going to stay up late and do it. So I stay up all night long. Then at 8 a.m., I put all my classes into the center. I click apply, and then I get the message you can't enter advanced linear algebra because you're missing the prereq. And I'm like, oh, this will be a problem I have to deal with at the department later today. But I'm still enrolled in 12 units. So my plan was to take 15 units, which is a normal amount. So I've got 12 units I'm registered in, so I'm a full-time student, so nothing's like a problem right now. I'll just deal with this in the morning, even though it's already morning. And I decide, I'm tired, I don't have class until noon, I'm just going to take a nap. So,
Take a nap, he says.
take a nap, I say. So I fall asleep at about 8:30 a.m. I woke up at 2:30 p.m. I had
Nice.
completely
I
missed.
wonder what went wrong there.
I wonder what the problem was as I wake up feeling awful, missed my first class entirely, and have an hour before my next class begins. So it was fine. I made up the work in that class. There was a lab that I missed, so me and my lab partner made up the work the next week. It's all fine. It's just stupid that I did it. And then, so I went to the department, and so there are 2 differential equations classes at this school, one for engineers and one for math majors. And the one for engineers is the end of the math tree, while the one for math majors is the beginning of the math tree. So there are a large number of classes that require the math differential equations class, not the engineering one. So I'm trying to take advanced linear algebra, and that requires me to take the math version of differential equations. So I go to the department, and I'm like, hey, can you guys just use the engineering version as the prereq? And they're like, we'll see, and we'll get back to you. I'm like, all right. And they get back to me like within the day, which was impressive. And they're like, we can't do it at the department level. You have to talk to the teacher. So it took them like around about 12 hours to get back to me, which is 1 fast for the school, but it's 2 not fast enough, because by the time they got back to me, the class like had both sections had already like filled up to the waitlist, and the waitlist was already like in the 20s. So while I could now speak to the professor and get myself on like the wait list, I'm still probably not going to get into the class. So I've just got to wait another semester to get this one done. But it's just, registering for classes is so obtuse and difficult. Like, I'm really lucky this year that I got into like the rest of my classes. It's only because I've got like the lowest senior priority, but because I'm a junior, like I'm in my 3rd year, I'm taking like 3rd-year level courses. The fact that I have that priority means that I get in before most of the people taking the same classes. So I get into classes where my friends don't, which is, I mean, it's great for me because I'm actually getting into these classes, but most people don't get in because they never open enough sections. Because like my major is incredibly impacted, so we never have enough teachers to teach all of the students. And it's gotten to the point where like the head of our department has to start teaching classes because they just can't find enough teachers in time.
Wait, I might have missed it, but how big of a gap is like in between like priority? You might have already said this, but
I didn't mention the times. The max priority was able to register. I gotta check my calendar. They got to register.
Yeah, just like give me dates.
Yeah, it was October 14th. Then the senior level priority began the 22nd, ended the 23rd. So it was a sliding scale over those 2 days. So like all the seniors, all people like senior standing, quote unquote, because the year titles mean literally nothing here.
Yeah.
It was like a sliding scale over those 2 days. And then like the people the next year down, the junior standing, there was like, I believe it was like the 28th and 29th. And it was just like a sliding, no, for them it was like the 21st, 25th. And then like sophomores it was 28, 29. And it just slides down. So it's like spread out over the course of like 2 to 3 weeks. And then everything remains open for like another month. So like some people will have like they stagger the times because of number of people. So like I had an 8 a.m. registration date. Well, I had people with like I had friends with the same standing who had like a 2 p.m. registration date, just because the school needs to stagger it for server reasons.
Yeah.
But overall, like the times could be over this 2-week time span. But like even now, like it's been over a week since I registered, they're still opening new classes. So there's like many classes where they're looking for teachers right now, and they will be looking for teachers until the end of the year. There are like, because I'm down to 12 units, so there are classes I need to take that they could open more sections and I could get into. I'm not like, it's not a massive problem for me that I can't get into all my classes immediately, because the school doesn't have all the classes it will have in the future right now. It's just attempting to get as many people as possible to like actually teach these courses.
Yeah.
So, Sam, you had to register recently as well. Is your registering system more annoying, less annoying?
Well,
What are your thoughts?
there isn't as big of a gap between like priority registration.
Yeah, that makes sense. Our gap is larger than normal.
Like priority, like I have priority registration, so the first day was the 28th of last month.
All right.
And like you can enroll for classes till January 30th next year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But when I went to enroll, and just as you said for your classes, like each person has like different like enrollment time during that day, because you know, server stuff.
Yeah, that's necessary to stop things from crashing.
Mine was at 11:30
AM or PM?
a.m.
That is a reasonable time. So I assume you did not use the grant method of making sure you're on time.
No, I did not. I did not ask you on time. But I went to, it was like the Friday before I had gone to like my honors advising just to more or less, well, it was really just letting her know like what classes I put on her schedule so she could update my honors like file or whatever for her.
Makes sense.
And then on a side note, to get rid of my advising hold, at least the psychology department is doing, one of the options is you can take a quiz in Blackboard, and if you get 100%, then it'll be taken down manually.
All right.
But anyway, so of like the classes units added up to 15, which would be on track for graduation.
Yeah.
2 1-unit choirs plus a 4-unit class, and then 3 3-unit classes.
Oh, that's up to me.
Well, all the 3-unit classes were psych classes. And what was filled up when I went to register? all the psych classes.
Ah.
2 of those classes were labs, and those are like, you need to take at least 1 lab to graduate, so there is like demand for those, but there's only like 1 slot for each lab.
Oh.
And then the other class is like an online positive psych class, and I'm like, that one like makes even less sense on like why that one was filled. Because like it actually had a good amount of slots. Unlike the labs.
Because it's an online class, and everyone wants to take an online class.
And they don't do digital wait lists for the labs and the senior sem for psych here. You have to be put on the wait list, you have to fill out a physical form and turn it in.
Oh, that's much more of a hassle.
And you're like supposed to put things like what your current status is, like if you're on a 4-year track, when you will graduate.
Oh, are you worthy enough to be in this class?
Yeah, and like your reasons for needing this class, like basically, are you going to graduate next semester, and if you don't get this class, you won't be able to graduate?
Ah.
So I'm hoping I get at least 1 of those, as like after I realize like, oh, 3 of these classes are already full. I gotta find 3 more classes to put on my schedule.
Yeah.
I was like, I eventually did put down 3 more. One of them was like my last upper division requirement. Another one was like a music class. I was just like, at the end of the description was like, for music majors or people who know music theory.
I am one of those 2 things.
You know, for people who are about to finish up, their major in this, or people who have a basic idea of what music is.
Can you read music? The end.
Like, yes, I've taken the basic course to do that in high school.
Which was not even a separate course. It was just taught in choir. For like 10 minutes at the beginning of class. Well, not even 10 minutes. It was like 10 minutes every other day.
Honestly, if you take a music class in high school and you do not learn how to read sheet music by the end of the year, you're in big trouble.
You're not moving on. So the 3 classes I ended up putting on was a history class for modern Mexico. That's like the last upper division requirement I need.
So, yeah. Random
Upper GE.
Random bullshit GE. Yeah.
I was originally going to go with like my original plan for my upper division GE was like some sort of music class, but then like it wasn't offered next semester, so I was like, oh, I'm just gonna wait the semester, see if it's offered in next fall, and if it isn't, I'll decide on something else.
Yeah.
And I think I saw like one of my friends posted this schedule, and I was like, and they had the class. I'm like, well, why not? I haven't ever like coordinated with others to have the same class.
I try to do that for all GEs because it makes like the boring classes actually fun to be in.
Yeah, for me, in my mindset, I was just like, if I get a class with someone, woo. If not, oh well.
Yeah, my first real English class in university like that in community college with a friend, and that was like the best time I've ever had in a class. Because we just like go to lunch and like talk about like our essay ideas and like talk shit about the class, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, classes with friends are significantly better than classes without friends. I'm sure we can all agree on that.
Yes. But then the other 2 classes was the music class I briefly mentioned, which now I can actually tell you the description, which was History of Western Music 2.
Oh, 2?
The long-awaited sequel.
Yes.
Yes. I totally took History of Western Music number 1. And the other class is Environmental Psychology, which is like not a requirement at all. It's just a psych class.
All right.
What does that entail? Is it like how environments impact people's psychologies, or
Let's see, description. Given the increasing evidence that human behavior is harming the earth at an accelerating rate, humans must shift to living sustainably. Environmental psychology's theories and research reveals reasons for environmentally destructive choices and ways in which psychology can be used to help people make needed changes.
Okay.
very interesting.
Oh, and it also can fulfill like one of the GEs of self-enrichment.
Yeah.
Although I've already done that, so
See, I know there was a couple engineering classes that fulfilled like certain like GEs. So you got me to think about it. So I'm looking at my schedule right now, and my immediate thought was, why does it look so weird? Because like the times is like weird and scattered. So I started looking around trying to like shape things up, and I was like, oh, I know why it's like this. It's because the times that they offer are all awful. Another thing that I can complain about is classes are always like at the exact same time as another one that I need to take.
so it turns into a one or the other.
Exactly. And it makes the schedule like look really weird.
Can't believe they make us do that shit.
Oh, and the last detail for like the enrollment is that I told you before that was on the 28th, the Monday, for
Yeah.
priority. And then seniors did Tuesday, juniors did Wednesday, and then Thursday sophomores. And then, Friday freshmen.
Do they give like entering freshmen the priority? Because I know at my school, like if it's going to be your first semester, you get max priority, so you get the classes you want, so you like the school more. Or do they just throw them at the back of the pack?
Remembering my experience entering, no. Although at the same time, my advising was like one of the last groups. So like, they're like, oh shoot, all the classes are filling up. Let's just put them all in like, let's just like, put all of them in classes like now. And I think it was like all classes that like you needed to take, I believe.
Okay.
And then, like, once the advising appointment actually came, they're like, okay, here's what your schedule currently is. If you can see what is still available, and if you want, you can change classes, but good luck.
So much luck involved. When do you have to register, Simon?
In 5 days. Yep. I have written down what I'm gonna sign up for.
Got it all planned out.
Yep. Taking French 5, Japanese 5, and East Asian Cultural Studies 4A. Maybe American history. Because that is a weird requirement that the university requires for no fucking reason. So I have to fuck with that.
Even after your 2 years of community college, you still need to finish GEs.
That's right. They will make me do an American history course,
oofed.
which doesn't even have to be about American history. It has to be about. It can be about like. It can be intro to Chicano studies, Black studies, that sort of bullshit. So like. I don't know, man. I don't know what the fuck they're on about with that shit, but I'm gonna have to fuck with it.
GEs suck.
Ironically wasting my fucking time on bullshit. Why the fuck does school have to suck ass all the time? Why can't it be awesome? I know it can be awesome. It just fucking sucks.
When is school awesome for you, Simon?
When you're having a good time with the boys, but you're in class and you're learning shit together.
We all just want to be with the boys.
Yeah, or if you have like a really fun teacher that you can talk shit with, then it's a lot of fun. Or just a fun teacher in general who just like likes to have a good time in class.
I don't have many teachers like that because of the engineering department. So most of my
You see, this is why you have to be a humanities major, because those guys have nothing to lose and they will have a good time.
No, it's funny because like the math department in my school is like the nicest department on earth. So like my current teacher for graph theory, like if you miss like a few classes because you're sick, she'll like personally email you to like see how you're doing and like we'll send you the notes to help you catch up. Like she's super nice. And like in class, she like mentioned this and I was like, I'm really used to teachers being detached and it's like really odd in my mind for like a teacher to be like this involved.
There really is the difference between like K through 12 and university.
Yeah. Because like at the beginning of class, she asked us to like everyone like send her an email with like a description of themselves and like why they're taking the class, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna be just like high school. It's just gonna be like a random like nothing assignment, and then like I get like a personal response back like within a day, and I'm like, oh, she's reading these and responding quickly. That's scary. And it's like it shouldn't like scare as much as it does, but I've gotten like so used to teachers being like detached and like not there that having one that like
Just like gonna hang you out to dry.
yeah, having a teacher that like cares was like a really weird feeling for me.
What do you mean people don't get abused by teachers?
What do you mean Mr. Smith didn't care?
No, I'm talking about like since high school. High school teachers have to care just because of how much time you spend with them. Because like you spend like an hour, or in Mr. Smith's case, I spend like 3 hours every single day with him. Where like for some teachers like in college, I'll see them like twice a week. And like our only conversation will just be like them like giving back my homework and saying like, good job, or you suck. Not in those words, of course, but like,
Wow, you need to do better.
or like not your best work, which just means like this is fucking shit. But you know.
Recently, for my Japanese class, I got a piece of homework back that said, "Hey, you're getting better," and like it felt good to me because I knew I was doing terribly, but like both me and the teacher knew like I didn't know a lot of the grammar because I'm a transfer student, so like we're working on different curriculums, so like it felt good to get acknowledged that like I'm getting the hang of it now.
By the way, have you signed up for Japanese 4 and Japanese 5 just in case you don't pass Japanese 4? Or are you just being confident?
I'm being confident and going for Japanese 5.
Hell yeah.
Mama didn't raise no bitch.
Yeah.
The boys.
If it's a problem, I'll deal with it later.
As he dabs out.
Exactly.
Fuck your shit. I'm gonna go to the hard classes.
Best of luck to you on your registration, Simon.
Thank you.
Are we done, or is there more to talk about?
I wrote down alarms. In bold.
In bold. So, I was unhappy with my alarms recently. I don't like waking up early, and I don't like loud noises. And the combination of these two things in my alarm was annoying me. So I decided I'd change things. So my phone, what I can do is I can make the alarm have no sound, but if I turn the ringer on, the phone will vibrate when the alarm goes off. So my thought was, I'm going to set all my normal alarms without sound, then turn the ringer on, and have like the phone vibrate next to my head, and that'll wake me up. This, I thought,
Poor choice.
don't spoil. This, I thought, was a brilliant idea. I would be gently nudged awake by the phone, and I wouldn't have to hear loud noises in the morning. And it worked for precisely 2 days before some cracks began to show. The first problem was that I toss and turn a lot at night, and when I place the phone next to my pillow, it's not always there when I wake up in the morning. There'll be some times where the phone will disappear, and I'll hear something quietly vibrating somewhere around my bed, and so when I wake up, normally late, I have to now find my phone before I leave the house. So that happened maybe like once or twice, and this was a problem that began to show, but I was still happy with my system. And then the unthinkable happened was I just got used to the vibrating. So there was one day, it was like, I've been doing this for almost a week, and it was Thursday. Thursday is my earliest class. It's a 10 a.m. class. No, it's a 9 a.m. class. Yeah, it's a 9 a.m. class, so I've got to be awake at 8 so I can leave and get there on time. And so I set down the phone with the alarms that vibrate, and they started vibrating, and I just gotten used to it, and I slept through it. I woke up at noon.
Nice.
I'm gonna reconsider you being the brains of the group.
So I've gone back.
There is no brain in this. We all have our moments.
We had like a couple brain. We now just have like a couple brain cells that we just split amongst ourselves.
So I've got a slightly new system where I now have alarms with no sound that vibrate an hour and a half before I have to wake up. And now I have alarms with normal alarms when I have to wake up. I'm seeing if this is nicer, if the vibrating will like wake me up slightly before the alarms like blast me awake. But it was a week-long experiment that ended in me missing a class. So jotting that one down as a failure, and I'm trying something new.
Tisk tisk.
I don't want to wake up early. I'm not a morning person.
You naturally sleep till 12.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. There was a summer where I'd wake up at 5 in the morning to play video games.
I could never do that. Like, even if I go to bed early, like, my body naturally wants to be awake, like, really late.
I used to be like that, but now I'm back to like being somewhat early. Like I'll wake up around 8:30.
I don't know. Wake at 8:30 is still late for some of my classes, so...
Yikes! I have later classes. My first class is at 10.
That's nice. That's what I'm gonna have next semester.
It's nice.
Yeah. The only time I've ever been able to wake up early consistently was when I worked at a Boy Scout camp, and I would just be physically exhausted every single night. So like we'd be working non-stop 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. So like at 11, I would just sort of collapse, and then like we'd have to be awake at 6, and I was always awake at 6, but it was just like through sheer like tiredness, I was like able to sleep those 7 hours and like be semi-functioning when I woke up. But naturally I wake up incredibly late and I sleep for incredibly long times.
God, I wish that were me.
I've been trying to get better at sleeping for long times. The worst that happened recently was I was awake until like 2 a.m. for some reason, and I was like, alright, I don't have class at all tomorrow, so if I go to bed now I can wake up like at noon and it's fine. That was my thought. Now, this told my brain, just keep on sleeping. So I will go to bed at like 2 a.m. I wake up at 4 p.m. the next day. I'm starving. I look at my phone and I don't believe it. And then I look outside and it's almost sunset.
You're like, welp.
There goes a day.
14 hours I spent asleep. That was not a good day.
It wasn't even a day.
I gotta just get into a consistent schedule, but that's easier said than done. One of these days in the future, the topic for this podcast will be sleep. I'll put that into the sheet whenever I can get myself on an actual schedule.
Dude, I gotta lock up.
Alright.
I really need you to head out, because I need to clear the other floors too.
Hold on a second, future Grant.